Hello everyone, welcome back. In part 2 of our software process series, we are diving into different software process models like Waterfall, Agile, Incremental, and more. We will break down how each model works, their strengths, and when to use them. Hit that subscribe button and let's just dive right into it. So, the first topic which I am going to discuss here is what is the difference between plant driven process and plant based process? So, I am going to explain one after the other. First is the plant driven process. It is used to develop a simple software. In this methodology, testing is done once the development phase is completed. It follows a linear organizational accepted structure. It provides less security. Client involvement is less as compared to agile development. It provides less functionality in the software. It supports a fixed development model. It is used by freshers. Development cost is less using this methodology. It majorly consists of 5 phases. It is less used by software development firms. The exception is favored in traditional model. Traditional software development approaches are formal in terms of communication with customers. For starters, typically software development approaches employ a predictive approach. This is full specification and prediction of the software development process because the product is produced through a rigorous and explicit planning. Changes are not permitted in this technique because the time and cost of project development are fixed. The examples of this process is office productivity suites, data management software, media players, security programs, and many more. The models which use this plant-driven process is spiral model, waterfall model, and V model and incremental model. Now comes what is plant-based process? It is used to develop complicated software. In this methodology, testing and development process are performed concurrently. It follows an iterative organizational structure. It provides high security. Client involvement is high as compared to traditional software development. It provides all the functionality needed by the users. It supports a changeable development model. It is used by professionals. Development cost is high using this methodology. It consists of only 3 phases. It is normally used by software development firms. Adaptability is favored in the Agile methodology. Agile software development methodologies are casual. In other words, customers who work with companies that utilize Agile software development approaches are more likely to interact with them, and then customers who work with the companies that use traditional software development methodology. Here is a flexible approach is used as the software development approaches are founded on the notion of continual design improvement and testing relies on a team and client feedback. The example of this process is Sky, Philips, JP Morgan Chase. The models which uses plant-based process is Agile development, Scrum, Extreme Programming, Crystal, feature-driven development, adaptive software development, etc. Now, we learned about 2 processes. Now let's learn what are the models and what models uses these processes. So, the first one is waterfall model. Waterfall model is a famous and good version of software development life cycle for software engineering. The waterfall model is a linear and sequential model, which means that a development phase cannot begin until the previous phase is completed. We cannot overlap phases in waterfall model. So the below diagram represents what the waterfall model means and how it works. Now, let us discuss the advantages and the disadvantages of this model. So, first is the advantages of waterfall model. This model is simple and easy to understand. This is very useful for small projects. This model is easy to manage. To end goal is determined early. Each phase of this model is well explained. It provides a structured way to do things. This is a base model of all the software development lifecycle models that came after this were created keeping this in mind, although they work to remove its shortcoming. In this model, we can move to the next phase only after the first phase is successfully completed, so that there is no overlapping between the phases. But as every coin has a second side, this model has its problems too. Let's discuss what are the problems with this model. In this model, complete and accurate requirements are expected at the beginning of the development process. Working software is not available for a very long during the development life cycle. We cannot go back to the previous phase, due to which it is very difficult to change requirements. Risk is not assessed in this, hence there is a high risk and uncertainty in this model. In this testing period comes very late. Due to its sequential nature, this model is not realistic in today's world. This is not a good model for large and complex projects. Now comes the V model. So, V model is a software development lifecycle model. It is also called verification and validation model. V model is widely used in the software development process, and it is considered a disciplined model. In V model, the execution of each process is sequential. That is, the new phase starts only after the previous phase ends. It is based on the association of testing with each development phase. That is, in V model, with each development phase, its testing phase is also associated in a V shape. In the other words, both development and testing activities takes place at the same time. So, in this model, verification phase will be on one side, validation phase will be on the other side. That is, both the activities run simultaneously. And both of them are connected to each other with V shape through coding phase. Hence, it is called V model. V design. In V design, the left side represents the development activity. The right side represents the testing activity. Now, first is the unit testing. So, what is unit testing? Unit test plans are developed during the module design phase. These unit test plans are executed to eliminate bugs in code or unit level. Next comes the integration testing. After completion of unit testing, integration testing is performed. In integration testing, the models are integrated and the system is tested. Integration testing is performed in the architectural design phase. This test verifies the communication of modules among them. Then comes the system testing. System testing tests the complete application with its functionality, interdependencies, and communication. It tests the functional and non-functional requirements of the developed application. Then comes the user acceptance testing, UAT. UAT is performed in a user environment that assembles the production environment. User acceptance testing verifies that the delivered system meets the user requirements and the system is ready for use in the real world. Now, let us discuss what are the problems and what are the benefits of V model. So, the advantages are, this is a simple and easy to use model. Planning, testing, and designing tests can be done even before coding. This is a very disciplined model. in which phase-by-phase development and testing goes on. Defects are detected in the initial stage itself. Small and medium scale development can be easily completed using it. Now comes the disadvantages. So, this model is not suitable for any complex projects. There remains both high risk and uncertainty. This is not suitable model for an ongoing project. This model is not at all suitable for projects which is unclear and in which there are changes in requirements. So this was all about in V model. Now, the next model is incremental model. So let's discuss that. So in incremental model, the software development process is divided into several increments and the same phases are followed in each increment. In simple language, under this model, a complex project is developed in many modules or builds. So as you can see in the diagram, this is an example, like there are 3 increments, so there are 3 different phases of the same process which does it in increments. So let's discuss what are the advantages and disadvantages of incremental model. So let's do that. So first comes the advantages. Important modules functions are developed first and then the rest are added in chunks. Working software is prepared quickly and early during the software development life cycle. This model is flexible and less expensive to change requirements and scope. The model can respond to each module and provide feedback if any changes are needed. Project's progress can be measured. It is easier to test and debug during a short iteration. Errors are also easily identified in this model as testing is done at every increment. Now, so what are the disadvantages of that? So they are: management is a continuous activity that must be handled. Before the project can be dismantled and built incrementally, the complete requirement of the software should be clear. This requires good planning and designing. The cost of this model is also higher. So now, let's discuss the next model, which is the Agile model. Agile model is a combination of iterative and incremental model. That is, it is made up of iterative and incremental model. In Agile model, focus is given to process, adaptability, and customer satisfaction. In earlier times, iterative waterfall model was used to create software, but in today's time, developers have to face many problems. The biggest problem is that in the middle of software development, the customer asks to make changes in the software. It takes a lot of time and money to make these changes, so Agile model came into use. Now let's discuss what are the advantages and disadvantages of this model. In this, 2 programmers work together, due to which the code is error-free and there are very few mistakes in it. In this, software project is completed in a very short time. In this, the customer representative has an idea of each iteration so that he can easily change the requirement. This is a very few rules in this and documentation is negligible. This is no need for planning in this. It can be managed easily. It provides flexibility to developers. Now comes what are the disadvantages then. So, the disadvantages are it cannot handle complex dependencies. Due to lack of formal documentation in this, there is a confusion in development. It mostly depends on the customer representative. If the customer representative gives any wrong information, then the software can become wrong. Only experienced programmer can take any decision in this. New programmers cannot take any decision. In the beginning of the software development, it is not known how much effort and time will be required to create the software. Now comes COTS. So, what is COTS? What does it stand for? So, COTS stands for Commercial Off-the-Shelf Software, which is software that is mass-produced and designed for many customers. COTS software is ready to use after installation and is intended to integrate with existing system. So basically, it is a reusability of a engine of a software. So it helps in cost reduction and also the human resources are not used that much. Some examples of COTS software: Microsoft Office Suite, Adobe Creative Suite, Salesforce, AutoCAD, and Zoom. Let me tell you what companies use this code. So for an example, let's take Salesforce. So Salesforce has become the first customer relationship management platform and the world's fourth employer on the Fortune 100 list. With around 80,000 employees and 150 product users worldwide. The biggest company that uses Salesforce are Spotify, Amazon Web Services, US Bank, Walmart, BMW, L'Oreal Americans, American Express, and many more. So this is all for this video. Thanks for listening me and having me on this platform. Thank you.